Greetings, meatbags. I'm going to go over the top 5 worst games that I've played in the last month. And these are free games, and I just want to go over my impressions of them, and also my complaints, and also Buttery's complaints on these games. I think there's a lot of room to improve on these games. So the qualification for the free aspects is that they are either on Game Pass, which makes them essentially free as long as you're paying for the service, or they're free on Steam. I don't think any of the games on this list are paid. However, a lot of them rely on microtransactions or some form of support. So let's get this started off with my number 5 worst, and you're watching it. This is Counter-Strike 2. I have a lot to say about Counter-Strike 2. The main thing is that it is stuck in the past and refuses to change. This may have been a really top-notch game in the late 90s or early 2000s, whenever the hell this game came out. It's ancient. It could have had modern game features, but instead they decided to cater to the sweaty people who refuse to shower, literally live and breathe this one game. It's hard to complain about not being good at a game and coming into the game way late in its cycle. I think that a first-person shooter success should be how easy it is to use your existing skills from other games and adapt it to a different game. And this doesn't have any of that. This is so out of date. It's so rudimentary that people have custom equipment to play this game more effectively. I'm sure I'm dying on a hill, this is going to be full of some hot takes. This is a horrible game to play. I really wanted to enjoy this game, but it didn't give me enough reason to stay in it. So I'm going to move on to the next game. Hopefully it's a little less opinionated and a little more universal. And here at number 4, we have a game called War Tales. This is available for a decent amount of money on Steam, but it's free on Game Pass. And I really enjoyed the first parts of this game. What ended up happening is the game got a whole lot more difficult. Essentially a D&D clone, but without magic. And it's turn-based, so you get that Baldur's Gate feel to it. The big issue that I have with it is like I said before, it's extremely difficult at certain points. So me and Buttery basically spent most of our gameplay killing refugees because that was the only thing we could fight. We tried 3 different encounters, like story encounters, and found that the battles were impossible. Like it was you had to be perfect. You had to have the best rolls, and you couldn't save mid-match. So the issue you ran into was it didn't matter what side you picked on a certain conflict. They always stacked the deck against you, and it just became punishment at that point. It didn't really have an engaging, like challenging, like it was a challenge, but it was like an impossible challenge. Like there was no way to win and have fun trying to almost win. It was dumb. Like me and Buttery encountered some fights that we were just guaranteed to lose, basically. And it's like, okay, so we ran away from that one. Okay, so we reloaded a save. So we just went to the next one, and the next one was the exact same problem. So it's like, you can't progress anywhere right within the initial town, the starting zone. There's no low level stuff. You have to grind a bunch of refugees to get anywhere near being able to compete. So it's just like, either you take the punishment as like to learn it, or you just don't play it. I mean, so yeah, I really wanted to like this game. It had some really good features that were very similar to Baldur's Gate, but if you were on Steam and you felt like you wanted that D&D experience, just buy Baldur's Gate. I mean, if you don't have Game Pass, definitely buy Baldur's Gate instead of this. If you're on Game Pass, try it out. We had Baldur's Gate, so we just switched to that. I may revisit it in the future, but who knows. We have number 3 here, and this game is called Undawn. And It's a decent game. Honestly, this would be a great game if it didn't have such dull dialogue. Every single time me or Buttery interacted with any of the NPCs, we immediately went skip, 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 skip because it was so uninteresting. It forced you through this really narrow tutorial that you couldn't go outside of. And this tutorial took, we spent 2 hours on this game and we weren't out of the tutorial, and it seemed like the story missions were single player. So it's like we're in a situation where the multiplayer is this shallow sandbox and the single player doesn't have any multiplayer, so what's the point of even playing the multiplayer? And we started to realize that these missions weren't going to end. At one point, the story was single player, and you couldn't play it with anyone else. It may have a mode that is single player elements inside of the multiplayer, but we never got to that because it it bombarded us with all this dull dialogue that we didn't give a crap about. So check out the footage. I'll play a few of the highlights from our playthrough. It was pretty funny. It was an interesting time, but yeah, it felt way too shallow, and so we gave up on it. Antibodies. I'm going to narrate all of my movement. Sneak around and turn on the flashlight because, zombies aren't attracted to that. Looks like there's robots everywhere. Fallen brothers fighting off the infection.
They can't get infected, right?
Alright.
What's wrong with it? You can't just.
This is your first time in the shop. Thank you. Oh, by the way, this is Dr. Michael. He'll be in charge of your checkup.
I try and skip so often I fucking end up shooting people after I'm done talking to them. You know what the graphics look like, kinda? The Sims.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
I'm so tired.
What the fuck was with the cat? I don't. Oh my god. Why?
What are all these? I can't stand these.
I'm gonna shoot this stupid sink. Stop making me do every fucking morning routine. Oh my god, I washed it in fucking clothes. Oh, I want to die right now. What the fuck? If I wanted to do this in a game, I'd do it in real life. Or I'd play Heavy Rain. Brush my teeth, too. Ah, I didn't brush my teeth. Well, it's like, why are we flying low? Do the zombies have ICBMs or fucking anti-air missiles? Like, what the fuck? We're more likely to get attacked by ground creatures by flying next to the trees.
Why is they having crafting furniture? Like, get the fuck out. I'm just gonna make a nice dresser. I'm just gonna stop what I'm doing and build a
gonna make the shower so I can, take a shower and things. One job. One fucking job.
one fucking guardian.
Alright, at number 2 here, we have a game called Stay Out. This is a free game on Steam, I believe. And interesting concept. Reminds me a lot of the old days of DayZ, but with a whole bunch of worse mechanics on top of it. As far as we could tell, no zombies. The sandbox is very limited. The graphics are, as you can see, horrendous. The main thing was we tried to basically go outside of the bounds, and the game decided to just try and harm you in the process. And this is ignoring all of the little nitpicks that just led to a very overly realistic game that is not fun. My major complaint and Buttery's major complaint is way too easy to hurt yourself or do something that is going to harm your ally or yourself. And once you run out of ammo, there's nothing in the map. It's a completely empty map, and you got to run through another game with a ton of dialogue that is not interesting, that doesn't have any progression. Like, you go in and you try and find this guy, but there's nothing on the map, nowhere to find it, no way to reference things. The interface is horrible, so I'm sure it's hidden somewhere, but it's impossible to decipher where to go. And when you do want to go somewhere, it tries to kill you. So we gave up on it because we just ran around for 2 hours looking at really poor graphics. And yeah, this is getting close to the top of the line garbage. I was expecting this to be somewhat game like, but it was not. It very much falls into the go into an open field and die pretty much with no no feedback on what you're doing, or the feedback that you get is buried in menus.
Why you gotta do that? Make it so complicated.
That's because there's only so many. Why'd you have to make it buttery beef boxing busting banana? Why did you have to do that?
Hey, at least it was easy to remember, and you know what those words are, how they'll spell those. You know, the average American knows how to spell those.
Right.
Most of them.
I invited you to a squad. I'll send you
Yeah, I
to my
thought you'd like
instance.
that name.
Yeah. And at number 1, we have Dragon Air. There is a very loyal fan base behind this game, and I really don't understand it. I come from the Baldur's Gate community and world and the D&D world, and I found this game to be the equivalent of playing something like Forza with all of the assists on, with every single assist, even where you don't have to brake, where you can just drive with one trigger. You don't even have to turn the stick. You just drive with the one trigger and that's it. Like, you're not even playing a game at that point. It's literally playing itself, and all you're there to do is to confirm, to tell the AI that you're alive. I mean, it's literally a fucking captcha game. Like, it's a, are you a robot? No. Okay, click the button. Like, what is this game? Like, how do people like think this is an actual game? Like, this comes from like the mobile part of gaming. You know, it's from what I understand, a gotcha game. But like, what am I playing? What am I actually doing in this game? I didn't, me nor Buttery gave it enough time to really develop it, but I've looked at gameplay videos. It doesn't look any different from this. Like, you have one move. It's click button, done. Like, that isn't it is an absolute disgrace that they batter you over the head with D&D stuff when it has no D&D mechanics in it. Like, what am I playing? Am I just here to watch a story and then click a button to progress the cutscene? Like, it's a cutscene simulator. It has no purpose other than to just watch the cutscenes. Like, that's the only thing I can glean from this. And I'm sure it's a hot take to dislike this game or whatever. Like, I don't care. This game is awful. Like, it's not really a game. Like, there's no game elements to it. Like, I might be okay with it on mobile, but on a PC, yeah, you gotta give me a break, man. Like, I'm pretty sure this was on Steam for free because they're making money on microtransactions. But yeah, I somebody explained this to me in the comments. Is there more than just one move per character, or is it just one move? Like, am I missing something here? Because this game doesn't feel like real. Doesn't feel like real life. So that's my top 5 worst games I've played in the last month. Subscribe if you want more of this hot take, toxic garbage that I'm spewing. And maybe some interesting, funny shit that me and Buttery do on a daily basis. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. I plan on making a top 5 games that I played in the last month. We'll start with the free to play and Game Pass games. But I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, meatbag.